All right, all right, all right. Hey guys, it's Ed Bogert. Welcome back to Investor You. This is our second episode. Super excited to have my dear friend Derek Carmichael with Carmichael International on with me. He's the co-host with the most. Got a big smile, and we are here to bring you tons of great information and answer your questions about anything and everything related to investing. So welcome, my friend. We did episode 1. It went beautifully. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm really good. I am really good. You know how this works. It's crazy. You know, our world is constantly shifting. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this show is because I feel like there's so much misinformation out there. People don't know where to find resources if they happen to be a non-traditional investor, or maybe trying to go the traditional route isn't always the best route, obviously, depending on your scenario. So we want to educate you on all things investing. And I have the guru with me each week, which is a blessing. So tell them a little bit more about you, Derek. Just give them a background before we take a deep dive into Fix and Flips Continued.
Oh, man, let's do it. So, hey, guys, Orlando grown, born and raised right here in Orlando, Florida, super local guy, real estate broker, investor, hard money lender, dad, martial artist. I don't know. The list goes on and on. I can talk about myself all day, I guess. But I've truly found a passion in the real estate space, especially in the investor lane. And Ted called me a guru. I pray one day to be a guru, but I'm definitely learning as we go. And here to give as much information as I can to help you all navigate your real estate investments. And hopefully we can do it together.
Well, I know we can. And you are a guru. Like, you answer all my crazy questions. And I had some people ask me when I was talking about the show and I did some promo, well, Ted, don't you do investments? Why would you want to bring somebody else in? And I said, well, sure, there's a traditional, quote unquote, traditional side of investing, but sometimes that's limited. The paperwork is a little more labor intensive. I mean, it's a give and take. And that's sort of what we're here to do, is educate you. I'm not always the best answer. Traditional is not always the best answer, depending on the scenario. And fix and flips, while they're beautiful, you have to know what you're doing. You have to work with somebody who knows what they're doing. This isn't just on the real estate side, the investor side. This is on the lending side and the title side and the all sorts of things side. So, so let's dive. Let's talk about fix and flip. So we had started talking about that last week. So do you want to recap what we sort of discussed?
Absolutely. So yeah, we did. I guess we touched base where we did touch base on your fix and flip product. And right now we're offering 10% down to new investors, 100% of the rehab cost. You just have to come up with the closing cost. Your cash to close will get you this fix and flip this property. You make your money, you go home. Today on Fix and Flip Continued, I wanted to talk about the rental space and how you can use this fix and flip product to leverage yourself into a long-term investment. And I see this right now in the transactions that I'm doing. A lot of investors are truly loving getting in with the 10% down, right? I'm going to do my little pitch here. I'm going to hit you with that, with a little subliminal message, right? Buy your rental property with 10% down. Here's how you do it. You're going to utilize the fix and flip product that we talked about in episode 1. You're going to come in. Hopefully everything lines up. You get your 10% down. You get 100% of that rehab. You have this beautiful property, whether it's an Airbnb or it's a long-term rental. You got it. It's ready to rock and roll. You're going to call me. You're going to call Ted. You say, hey, guys, I'm ready to refi this, right? So now we have this beautiful property. It's maxed out. We know it's worth 400 grand now. But you can short-term rent this thing. You can do nightly rentals. You can do Airbnb or Verbo. You can do long-term, whichever strategy best suits this property. Now we're going to refi over, right? So you kind of, hack the game a little bit. You got in at 10% down. We're going to give you max 75% LTV, okay, of the ARV. I want to make sure I make this clear. It's of the $400,000 that this house is worth. That's quite the change you get back. And I try to tell folks all the time, pay attention. You're getting back, or hopefully you get back the money that you put into this. So if you only put in 40 grand, right, but you're able to refi out and get 80 grand back, hey, you paid off your previous loan. We love you. We're all solid there. We start a 30-year note. I want to be clear. This is fully amortized. So taxes, insurance, everything is in this payment. And now you can short-term rent this thing out and have your principal paid down.
So there's so many things I love about this. So let's take them again, step by step. Pretend you're talking to Ted all day long. That's really should be your starting point. So we do the 10% fix and flip. It's 10% down. So they're putting 40 grand in, let's say, on the house that you're talking about. So at what point do they refi? Give them kind of an idea of the seasoning, and then is there a problem when they go to refi? It's kind of unique in our worlds on the investment side that you have the 30-year fix and flip, a 30-year amortized. So talk about that, because I think a lot of investors are so used to getting in, getting out, they want to hold, but they don't know how to hold. So there's an easier way to do it.
Absolutely.
If you plan it out.
Wonderful. Good question. So to go into detail about the process, now we've been in this flip. Let's say your rehab is taking you 90 days, right? Most of the lenders that I'm working with want to see at least some sort of ownership for 120 days. But this is fine because, I try to keep you with the same lender that we did the fix and flip loan. They like that because now they're getting the refi, right? So it's easier for me to go in and negotiate that with them and say, hey, I'm bringing the same loan back to you. They're ready to rock and roll. Here's what we can rent this property for. Here are all the numbers. They typically love it. So if we're at 90 to 120 days, you're typically allowed to go ahead and do this refi. Some lenders have a different strategy around that. Some might not need a seasoning, but I would plan for 120, right? We've met that 120 days, but you can start the process. So let's say we know we're 30 days out from hitting our target time to do the refi. We can start that. We can start the refi. We can start the appraisal. We can start running all the numbers, make sure that the DSCR, the debt service coverage ratio, is at least at 1%, right? And then we can kind of go forward and start putting the term sheets together. We should already have your docs. One thing I love about my process is I keep all of your documentation. I'm not going to bug you for anything else. I may start talking to you about getting a lease in place, but once you're about 90%, the rehab is about there. You know what you're looking like. You know what your number is going to be. Let's start that process to make things easier so we can flow right into that next loan for yourself and keep it moving. Some folks are going to start having that question, well, what about the money? What does it cost? Well, you're probably looking at 2 points. You're looking at a processing fee. That part it stays the same throughout. What's beautiful about a refi cash out is you typically don't need to bring cash to the table. If there's meat on the bone, they're going to take that out of your little profit, and then you keep on moving, right? So when you see your cash at closing, you're going to know this is the money that you're getting after everybody's paid, after your debt's paid. It's a beautiful process. Let's build your portfolio.
So tell me the comparison, just because for people who don't know, is there a difference? Talk about credit score for the original fix and flip and then the refi.
Okay. The credit scores are virtually going to be within the same range. Again, we can go down to 600. In some cases, I can go down to 575. I laugh when I say that because I don't technically want to go there. But if we're in a situation and we need to, your hands are tied and we got to get this thing refied, I can't help you. But I also tell my clients, hey, your sweet spot is 620. Get me at least a 620, please. And then from there, I have a product for you. We can definitely get you done. So they're virtually the same. Our rates are as low as 7%. Now, a lot of folks don't know that the hard money space. I'm telling you, we're touching in that area where our lowest rate right now, right? It was 6.8 a few weeks ago. It's gone up to 7%, but that's still right there with the retail space. That's right. And you touched on something earlier, and I tell folks you might pay a tad bit more, but we are not as heavy on documentation. And after that first transaction, once I have your docs, I mean, you're really not doing anything. You're just telling me what you want. I'm taking the order and I'm providing that service for you. So it's a pretty simple process once we're in that. Once we've done
can people, like, let's say you have a credit score. What about foreign nationals and that kind of stuff on fix and flips?
Yeah. So foreign nationals, there's two different ways, right? If they do have some sort of establishment here, if they have something right here, maybe they've already owned the property, they do have a credit score, whether it's high or low, they will actually be looked at as a typical investor in the United States. So we can go up to 75% LTV if we need to. Let's say they don't have anything and they're your typical foreign national, then they're at 65% LTV, but they already know this.
Yes.
So they don't push back. They don't get upset. Remember, America's for sale. So they want to be able to buy. And if they can buy with any type of leverage without doing all the crazy documentation, they love it. They do.
One other thing before we wrap up on fix and flips, and we could talk about this forever, and we'll continue to talk about this. Tell me about investor seasoning. Tell me about an investor. What kind of experience do they have to have?
Zero.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I thought that was the answer. It's a good thing I set you up for that because I sort of thought I knew the answer. But why is that a big deal? Because that's relatively more difficult, or at least the perception is that that's difficult to get out there.
So, you know what, let me not, I don't want to give any false information. You don't have to have experience, but you will be vetted a little harder. We will require there to be some sort of GC or contractor that's helping you with the rehab, right? You don't want to go through that alone. That's where I come in. That's why you want to know Carmichael International. I can help manage it. I have crews. I have teams that know exactly what they're doing. So I can hold your hand through a lot of that process. Don't worry about that. But when we say you don't have to have experience, yes, you don't. You need to meet the requirements. But you can get started today. And why do they do that? There's a ton of attorneys. There's a ton of teachers. There's a ton of people out there who have the ability to do this, and they're scared, or they don't know what they're doing. Well, we can supply that and still get you investing. We want to loan money, right? We just want to do it responsibly. So let's get you with someone that can mentor you through it, and you're rocking and rolling. But if you want to buy your first rental property, let's do it. You're going to go through the steps. You're going to learn how to structure transactions. You're going to know what we're looking for. So, you know, you're just going to keep getting better and better.
And I think that's the biggest fear. Like people, even somebody who's been around investors, if they haven't done their first transaction themselves, it can be very overwhelming. That's why you want to have a team. You want to make sure you have your financing, somebody you trust who's also experienced at that. Same on the title side, same on every particular part of the transaction, because it is a lot of work. We could probably spend an entire week or a couple of weeks of shows talking about labor and construction and the labor pool and how that works and how sometimes that can be a challenge. Supply and demand. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it. We really want you to trust somebody like Derek who can, and his team, who can really walk you through start to finish. And I think that's really critical, because there's deals out there, guys, correct?
Oh, there's deals out there. And I tell people too, stay in your lane, right? If you're going to be an investor, then you don't want to be hammering stuff, right? You don't, like, investors aren't the folks that are pulling up the tile or laying tile. That's not your job. Hire the contractor and the subcontractor. Like, get the experts in there to do what they do, right? If you don't have an agent, get you one. If you're not connected to a hard money lender, get yourself one. If you get someone who knows the space, pay them what they're worth so you can actually benefit from their knowledge. You're paying for their experience. So, you know, you want to do these things to maximize your ROI, but you're an investor. You don't need to be doing the work. You know, I watched a show the other day and they're talking about flipping one-on-one, and he was saying, hey, you need to be out finding more deals. Your job is to go negotiate more deals. Let your contractors do what they do. Let those experts do that. So that's why you can kind of take some of that weight off your shoulders, because you should have crews that can guide you through every step of the way.
100%. All right. Derek, what is the best way they can find out more about you and reach you if they have any investment questions?
Oh, man, I'm wide open. You guys can email me at connect. Well, I guess it's connect@DerekCarmichael.co. You can jump on my Instagram, Mr. Carmichael. You can go to Carmichael Investments on Facebook. My phone number is 407-731-0215. You can call. I will pick up, and we could talk about this all day long.
All day long. And join us each week. We're going to talk about InvestorYOU, anything that has to do with investing that you might be interested in. It will be a lot on fix and flips, a lot on anything investment. We're also going to talk to some people who are in the trenches. We'll bring on guests. We want to hear different people's perspectives, mainly because we know that you guys want to do it right, and you want to surround yourselves with the right people. So you can find Derek at DerekCarmichael.co or me at Linktree/Ted Bogert. Appreciate you, brother. That was great. I loved every second of it. You guys join us every Monday at noon. We will be here to impart some investor wisdom on you. Thanks, Derek, so much. We'll see you guys soon. Guys, reach out to us if you have questions or if you have somebody you'd like to see on the show. Put me in touch with